Joy 99.7 FM.
I used to bite my tongue and hold my breath, scared to rock the boat and make a mess. So I said quietly, agreed politely. I guess that I forgot I had a choice. I let you push me past the breaking point. I stood for nothing, so I fell for everything. You held me down, but I got up, already brushing off the dust. You hear my voice, you hear that sound, like thunder gonna shake the ground. You held me down, but I got up. Get ready, 'cause I've had enough. I see it all, I see it now. I got the eye of the tiger, fire, dancing through the fire. 'Cause I am a champion, and you're gonna hear me roar louder, louder than a lion. 'Cause I am a champion, and you're gonna hear me roar. Now I'm floating like a butterfly, stinging like a bee. I earned my stripes. I went from zero to my own hero. You held me down, but I got up, already brushing off the dust. You hear my voice, you hear that sound, like thunder gonna shake the ground. You held me down, but I got up. Get ready, 'cause I've had enough. I see it all, I see it now. I got the eye of the tiger, fire, dancing through the fire. 'Cause I am a champion, and you're gonna hear me roar louder, louder than a lion. 'Cause I am a champion, and you're gonna hear me roar. You're gonna hear me I got the eye of the tiger, fire, dancing through the fire. 'Cause I am a champion, and you're gonna hear me roar louder, louder than a lion. 'Cause I am a champion, and you're gonna hear me You're gonna hear me
Well, hello there. Good evening and welcome. This is Joy 99.7 FM. My name's Anamoah Inimado, and of course, this is Strong and Sassy. It's a beautiful Wednesday evening, and I hope you've had a wonderful day. The weekend is slowly approaching, so maybe it's a good day to get excited about the weekend. But another thing to get excited about is my conversation tonight. So tonight, we're doing something a little bit different than we normally do, because, you know, we normally have a panel of girls and then we have our crazy discussions. But there's a time and a season for everything. And so we thought it would be really good to have this conversation tonight as we start to celebrate women this month. You know that we have International Women's Day, which is next week, Wednesday. But the whole month is dedicated to women and the amazing things that women have always done and continue to do. So in that light, I'm sitting down tonight. It's the first time that I'm having a one-on-one conversation with this person. I'm really excited. She's somebody that, you know, is always creating something. It's always something to talk about. You know, she talks about things that people don't want to talk about. She goes into the spaces where women, you know, kind of like are crawling into because they don't want the bullets and the fire. Of course, with this description, I can only be talking about Nana Aba Anamoah.
You know, I'm just sitting here wondering, wow, this is what Animu will be saying, you know, another 45 years at my funeral.
Oh wow! I'm sure between now and then there will be so much more to say. But
Right.
there's no doubt about that, Nana,
Yeah.
that you go into the spaces that women
I can
don't
only
want
try.
to go into.
Yeah.
Because there's always something coming at you. There's always, you know, some
know.
tweets. There's somebody's always saying something.
I know.
And how do you cope with it?
You know, the weird thing is that I do not see these comments.
Okay.
I have a way of insulating myself
Okay.
from all of the rubbish that is thrown at me. And so I hardly see these things. It's always important. You know, there was a time in my life where every single day I woke up to a negative comment about me.
Wow.
And it affected me. I'm a very resilient person. I know how to be happy, how to smile in the midst of difficulties. But as a human being, it does get to you. It doesn't get to me because I'm just a human being who's been hit hard by something. It gets to me because I have a son. And even though my son does not live in this country, he has friends.
Of course.
Yes, my son is not on social media at all. He just doesn't like all of that socializing platforms. But for some reason, it does get to him. He reads these things and it affects him. So it's the only time that I get really, really worried. And there was a time when I sought therapy.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
because it affects you mentally. And this was so many years ago, maybe 12 years ago. But since then, and the therapy really helped me. And since then, I've found a way to stay happy despite anything that is thrown at me. The wonderful thing is that I do not see it. And wonderfully, my friends are sensible people. And so when they see these things, they ignore it. They don't send it to me. They won't forward it to me. Because when I see anything about them, that's bad. I will only react by blocking the person who wrote that about my friend.
Okay.
And that's it. That's where it ends. And my friends do same. You know, we have this unwritten code of protecting our mental
other.
health, you know. And it has really, really worked for me. And for the times that I see these comments, I just laugh about it because I don't know of anyone who engages in self-deprecation like I do. I'm very critical of myself.
Yeah.
I'm really hard on myself. And so when it's coming from somebody else, I just look at it and I have a laugh that
Yeah, I've said that already to myself.
yeah,
so,
precisely. So yeah, find something
Yeah.
new to say. Yeah.
I want to stay on the mental health thing because,
Right.
I mean, I've always said that mental health is something that is so not spoken about enough of. And especially with women, you know, especially in our industry, for example, when a woman is emotional about something, she's passionate about something, it's tagged as negative.
Right.
And so it's difficult to put yourself out there. I remember, for example, when Honorable Zaneto Rawlings was doing her campaign, and you know, she would post stuff on social media about the campaign, and the comments would be, go and look for a husband, you know, why you not finding some children, why you know, and all these things sort of come at your mental health as a woman. So the fact that you're, you know, admitting publicly to doing therapy is amazing for us, because
it's important.
it is, isn't it? Because there's so many people who need that. I just want you to speak to, before we get into the interview, to the women who are listening, who feel like, you know, they are drowning because it's a bit too much. I've even interviewed some women who are going to politics, and they tell you about the things that are said to them and how day in and day, and it's like sandpaper on your personality, on your character, and it's great. It's just, you know, tell them that I just need you to tell them it's okay to seek help. Like therapy is okay.
Absolutely. It's important to see someone at every point in your life. if you're going through challenges, sometimes it's not okay to just speak to a family member because they don't understand what you're going through. It is not just okay to speak to a friend because you leave and the friend is discussing your issue with somebody else. You can't even trust your family very well. Seeing a clinical psychologist, seeing a psychologist to talk to, see a therapist, sit down with people. It doesn't mean you're mad. It doesn't mean you're going gaga. But it's important to protect your mental health. Everyone goes through depression. Sometimes I hear people say, I'm depressed and depression is for white people. No. Yeah. People get depressed in Ghana. People are depressed in Ghana. People are filled with anxiety. They just don't know how to go on. There is absolutely nothing wrong with going to the Accra Psychiatric Hospital to say that I want to see someone, I want to talk, I'm going through a lot and I want to talk. There is nothing wrong with walking into a hospital and asking for a psychologist. There's nothing wrong with looking up for contact details of a psychologist online to go talk to them. You need to do it, even if you think you're fine now, because so many things are thrown at us. At work, at home, in your social circles, it's important that you have someone you can run to, a safe space for you. If it is not friends that you can trust, I won't usually talk about my challenges with my friends because I know they are also going through challenges as well. They have their own issues, and I don't like uploading my problems on people, just projecting every time. There are things I will speak to them, like a broken heart.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I will speak to my friends about, a broken heart. This guy has broken. But if you're a guy, you break my heart, we will have problems.
I was just going to say that. Yeah, okay.
No, I've had my heart broken before.
Yeah, but I was going to ask you.
Oh, you think I don't have a
heart?
you do.
No. I don't think you don't have a... But you have a very steely exterior.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, hey, so Charlie, boy, fi floor you like, and the question would be, so what kind of man was able to floor you know what I mean?
Love is such a weird thing.
Funny,
some of the things you do when you're in love can be really amazing when you sit down and you look back. But back to the matter, you need to find someone to speak to. And it doesn't have to be your pastor all the time. It doesn't have to be your head of family all the time. Go and see a specialist. They trained for a reason, and you'll be amazed. Before I contacted the psychologist, I had my own doubts that, do I really need this? But at that point in my life, there was so much going on. I will sit down and say, tomorrow will blow over, I'll forget. But these thoughts just kept coming. It held me back. I just couldn't go on. I wasn't productive. I was struggling. And then I felt, no, this is the time to see someone, talk to someone. And it was such an amazing feeling, letting all of that off my chest. It felt so good, just talking about it. Felt really good. Before this lady stepped in and started offering me guidance. Okay, these are your trigger points. Avoid this, do that. And it was so helpful, so helpful. So don't think that by seeking therapy, you are losing your mind. You lose your mind when you don't.
Seek therapy or seek help.
Seek help.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. It means a lot to me. Mental health is very,
important.
Very important.
We don't take it seriously.
No, we don't.
Yeah,
not
it's such a shame.
At all. So 3.3 million followers on Instagram.
Oh, gosh.
Twitter princess, Twitter queen, Facebook.
Facebook. I don't understand.
Yeah. Facebook is, but I mean, there's a lot of talkability around you. There's some people call it talkability in a good way. Some people say there's a lot of hype around you. I think that you make it all work for you. So this is the question: what did it take to get to this point from where you started when nobody knew you?
Right.
You're tiny.
Extremely tiny.
You're small.
Okay. Like petite.
Yeah, you're petite.
Yeah, petite. So I like that word. It's so
it's very
sexy.
It's very jejune.
Yeah,
I don't think that's the right word, but anyway, it sounds nice. But you're petite, so you don't necessarily fill a room. Not now. I'm like back then. You don't necessarily fill it. There wouldn't be something that's about you physically that will suddenly make people go quiet and stuff. As would now. I mean, I walked in here with you, so I've observed the kind of effect that you have on people. What did it take to go from a woman who was obscure, like not really known,
Right.
to being a woman who has a lot of influence?
Right. Okay, so it started way back. I mean, I knew I wanted to do this when I was in class 3. You know, I knew that I wanted to be on TV, not radio. I've never been a fan of radio.
Okay.
I just love to be seen.
You like to be seen.
Yes,
Okay.
but now, you know, we're streaming and all
And
of that.
yeah, so you're
it makes radio, it makes radio more interesting
Yes.
now. But I've always loved TV. I've always been fascinated about TV. I remember when I went to senior high school and I was really, really sad at Ghana National College.
Okay.
Because a lot of my friends went to different schools.
Okay.
And so I was the only person. I felt really lonely. And I was used to a certain lifestyle from primary school where you are made to read all the time. And I go to National and I have friends who are completely doing something different.
Okay.
Not boring, exciting, but I wasn't used to that. And also, I love to follow news. And so I get to school and nobody's discussing what's in the, you know,
happening
in the news.
Yeah.
They are not talking about the Daily Graphic, the Ghanaian Times. But I was used to driving to school from class 2, class 3, all the way to junior high school with my father and my siblings, listening to the radio, you know, discussing stories on the front page of the Daily Graphic and the Ghanaian Times. And you go to school, I'll sit, and the children are doing similar things. You know, they come and say, oh, did you see Jerry John Rollins today? His thing was nice. This was nice.
Yeah.
You know, I was used to that kind of thing. So I went to National and I wasn't getting that. And not that the children were so different from me, but they were used to something completely different.
Okay.
But I felt really lonely. I felt lost. And so at that particular moment, I thought, okay, I need to make something happen for me. So I spoke to my one of my science teachers, and I said, I want to start a campus news agency because I feel people, you know, must follow the news. And my teacher thought, okay, this is very foolish. Do you think it will work?
Okay.
And I convinced him. We went to see the headmistress, and she said, okay, if people will listen to you, why not? And it started campus news agency with a few members. So every Monday morning, I was reading the news to the school's assembly.
Okay,
you know, so
that's interesting.
I always found a way to be relevant. You know, and that is to answer your question. I make sure that when I walk into a room, yes, at that time you will notice me, but I will do something that will catch your attention. It's probably the way I will speak, and I'm a very confident person. My self-esteem is sometimes a problem for me because it gets it gets too much. You know, my self-esteem is, you can't bring it down. You know, so I will do something that would attract you. You will look at me, you will pay attention to me. And that is what I've done all these years. I try to stay relevant all the time. I try to find, you know, if things are changing today, I need to find a way to hop onto the new thing. And I remember when we introduced the Diva show at TV3, it was the first time we're having a sports show for ladies in Ghana. And Emma Morrison, you know, just looked at me and thought, you can do it. And at that time, I didn't like football.
Okay.
So that was how I started following football.
Okay.
And my father being a Manchester United fan, I thought, okay, so Manchester United it is then. And at that time, it was a World Cup. So there was no news. But I found a way to be relevant. And everyone was talking about football, girls in football, the Diva show. And yeah. So,
and that was it.
And that was it. So I just try to be relevant all the time. And I think as a woman, you must do that. You must find a way to not just add to the numbers, but be very strategic so you are counted. You know, don't just be part of the statistics. You know, you need to make an impact. You need to stand out. You need to stick out like a sore thumb. You know, so when you leave the room, people have a certain impression of you. Whether it's bad or good, that's
an
another
impression.
thing. Yeah, but it's an impression.
Yeah.
And you must do that. As a woman.
What does it take on the inside to become what you're saying that women should be on the outside? Because it's easy to tell somebody, be relevant, you know, walk into a room and command attention. But that must definitely start from the inside.
Believe
now,
in
how
yourself.
do we fix the insides?
Well, that's a very difficult question for me because my confidence has never faltered.
Okay.
I'm a very confident person, and I've met people who glow, they sparkle, but they lack confidence. You know, the self-esteem is really low. I would say that you need to be very deliberate about the people you hang around with.
Okay.
You know, don't just pick up friends. Find friends who have an impact on you. Find friends who would give you something back. Not just friends you sit and chin wag with. The gossiping sometimes is too much. If you're gossiping and it's bringing you results, then all the better. But if you're sitting down chin wagging and you go home with zero, then it's a big, big problem. What's Ivan Smith?
I have no idea.
Evans, why are you distracting me? I'm trying to sound like a sensible person.
I never concentrate when I'm around.
Wow, I see.
Can you
Hello,
imagine?
Evans.
It's obvious, can't you see?
I don't know about that, but that's Evans Mensah, host of Newsnight and Top Story, rudely interrupting Strong and Sassy. Wow. Okay, Evans.
Evans has always been
He needed to say hello, so that's fine.
I know.
That's fine.
Right, so where were we? Oh, Evans.
You were talking about the insides.
Yes.
And so friends, if the gossiping is not
I
helping.
mean, it's okay to sit and chin wag sometimes, but you need to find friends who will tell you the truth about what you're doing. Friends who encourage you. Friends who spur you on that, okay, you're doing this at level A, but we think if you do A, B, C, D, you could move to Q. You must surround yourself with positive people. Not people who seek to bring you down all the time. I've had my fair share of people who try to bring me down. They haven't succeeded because the thing about me is that I have a backup for everybody.
Okay.
So at every point in time,
Everyone is replaceable.
yeah, I'm replaceable. Everyone is replaceable, and disappointment doesn't really know me by name.
I saw your post. I said that was a good one.
Yeah, because the thing is that I know what people could potentially do, bad and good, and so I'm always prepared. Back to your question, I think a lot of the time when you do introspection, it's important. Sometimes we don't really sit down to analyze our day. It's important that we do that. We don't sit down to analyze our circles, the people in our circles. It's important that we do that. We need to read more. A lot of the confidence that I have is from reading.
Okay.
And a lot of the experiences that I've had, I've realized that so many people have gone through it before. And I pick lessons from how they dealt with it. And I make it my own. And it's worked for me for the longest time. So I keep telling people that it's hard to break me down. You can't. You know, you really can't get so far with me. You can try, but I just know how to remain resilient.
Okay.
Despite everything. And I say to myself that no one else can make me happy apart from me. And if I allow you to get to me, then I've let myself down. And so even though it's difficult to muster the courage to do certain things as a woman, you must just find the right people. And it doesn't have to be women too all the time around you.
Okay.
It can be men, it can be women. And throughout my career, throughout my life, the people who have helped me the most were men. There was only a time when Emma Morrison really came through for me. And I keep talking about Emma all the time because the opportunities Emma gave me, I'm not sure any other person would have given to me. Emma knew my flaws. She knew... Emma can just see through me. I don't know how she does it, but she knows.
I think it's a gift.
It's a gift, right? But Emma was there for me. And it was the only time a woman probably came through for me. But the rest of the time, it was all men who helped me. And so I think that we should surround ourselves with people who help, people who are willing to see you win, people who are excited about your successes, not those who, you have friends, you do something really great. Oh, Anamoah, this dress is so beautiful. But if you had gone with a green shoe, why? If the dress is beautiful, leave it there.
Beautiful,
it's
yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Why are you coming in with a butt? You must watch out for such negative and
The
this
little
is things
yeah.
that people do. But I think when you read more and you follow people's stories, their trajectory, how they overcame their challenges, it really, really helps. I mean, it has helped me, and I don't think I'm that special, and it will help anyone as well.
Anyone else. So you talk about the fact that a lot more men helped you. Do you think that it makes a difference who helps you in terms of gender?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't at all. I don't think it should be seen through a gender lens. Human beings are human beings. They are going to help you or not help you. Women are bad, men are bad. Women are good, men are good. Depending on how they feel, depending on their own orientation, their experiences. I'm saying that a lot of men have helped me because I know women who sought help from men and they were asked to do one thing or the other.
Okay.
And I know that conversation has come up so many times, and I think it is real. I have never experienced it. I have never ever. No one has asked me for a sexual favor, for a job, for anything. I have never experienced that. But I know it is true for a lot of women because I've worked in organizations where some women face that. And they didn't know who to talk to. You go and speak to a man, for instance, about it, and they say, oh, well, you're normal. It is not normal.
Yeah.
It is not normal at all. You go and speak to sometimes a woman about it, and just ignore.
Yeah.
No, you can't ignore because it is real. You know, so it doesn't matter who is helping you. Just make sure that the help is coming from someone who will not use it against you one day.
How do you judge?
Well, I guess I'm a good
Judge of character?
And so I can tell. So the example I gave, Emma Morrison, when I walked into the newsroom the first time and I saw Emma Morrison, my God, for maybe 2 hours I couldn't speak because I couldn't believe I was in...
You were speechless?
Yes, I was.
There was such a time?
No,
Wow.
I couldn't believe I was in her presence. You know, I just couldn't believe I was in her presence. And then when I heard her speak Fanti, I was... gone. I was just gone. I melted that, oh my God, Emma Morrison. And I just said to myself, this woman, I'm going to worship her. I'm going to adore her because I truly, really, really love Emma Morrison. I think
it comes through.
Yeah, she's a goddess of journalism.
Yeah,
you know, I love her. You know, I really love Emma Morrison. And Emma was so kind to everybody. And it wasn't just the women. The men. And if you make a mistake, Emma will go hard on you. And it doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. She will deal with you because she has to deal with you. And if she has to shower praises, then expect some cakes. You know, expect something really beautiful. But just find the right people. The right people. But if you think that it is a man who will give you that safe space, all the better. If you think it's a woman that will give you that safe space, all the better. But just make sure that the people are of repute and they are really, really willing to be there for you, to help you.
I get that. What in your life birthed woman of valor?
That's an interesting question. You know, I've been playing with women of valor for about 10 years.
I think, can we focus on the word valor for a second?
I've heard people
because there have been so
butcher
many.
it. I know. I've heard Vela, I've heard Valor. But the one that killed me, it really took me out, was Valois.
Valois. Wow. Valois.
Valois. Oh, that one took me out.
Yeah,
it was like a bomb,
yeah,
like a missile. It took me out. Yeah, but it's Valor.
Valor.
Yeah. And I've been dancing around it for 10 years. You know.
10?
10 years.
Okay.
Every time I say to myself, oh, this year I'm going to do it. And then I procrastinate. I love to procrastinate, you know.
Okay.
Even my mom couldn't deal with it. When I was young, my mom used to beat me, thinking I would change one day. I never changed. I procrastinate a lot, you know. It doesn't mean I'm a lazy person. I just like to, you know, receive an epiphany. If that epiphany
hasn't come, you need the aha moment.
I need an aha moment. If it doesn't come, then I just
reluctant.
feel, this is not the right time for me. You know, so I kept pushing it off my books for the longest time until December last year. I was on leave, resting, and I thought, yeah, this is it. This is the time. This is the time for me to do it. I did it because I realized that there were so many people going through so many things. And in my DM, for instance, there was a time I had to lock my DM on Instagram. And in fact, Twitter is still locked.
Wow.
Because I can't deal with the issues on my own. I do not have the time sometimes to respond to everybody. And I feel really bad when people go out of their way to send me a message and I'm unable to respond. I feel I owe them that responsibility to respond. But the issues were just too much for me. It was affecting my mental health. It was draining because I realized that, wow, I think I have issues, but people have worse problems. And I it just took my mind back to all the problems that I have experienced and how people's stories helped me get through it. And it was from a storybook, it was from a movie, it was from different things, a journal, a feature, and it really, really helped me. So I always thought that I have to create a platform where people can share their stories, courageous stories, to inspire other people, because it worked for me.
For you, yeah.
And I also feel that you have so many young girls who look up to you, and sometimes it is crazy. You know, I've received messages in my DM where someone says, I'm 16 years old, I just had sex for the first time, and I don't know what to do. I can't speak to my mom about it, and they expect me to speak to them. Yeah, and I have to. I have to.
What do you do?
Well, you talk to them.
What do you say?
Well, you have a conversation. Let them know that you care. That, yeah, they had sex at 16. They haven't really killed a human being. Even though you wish they hadn't done it, but they've done it. So
did they use protection?
Well,
hopefully. Some do, some don't.
Again, it goes back to the conversations we have at home with our children. It's important that we have these discussions. There was a girl who said she's 18 years old. She's pregnant. Her boyfriend, who is 20-something, says they should abort it. But she looks at me. I also had my child when I was a teenager, and I look so fancy. So she wants to keep the baby because she feels she will be like me. And that killed me.
Yeah.
That what a horrible role model I am.
Oh.
To make teenage pregnancy look attractive to one girl.
I think it's just...
That is a calamity.
No, I don't think that's what it was.
I felt bad.
I can imagine,
it's scandalizing. It's calamitous. That how? I felt really bad. So I immediately responded that, give me your number. I need your number.
I need to talk to you.
I need to talk to you. So I spoke to her. We spoke extensively for so many days. And then I got her to come with me to see her mother. You know, and you should see the way the woman reacted. She was so angry. But I wasn't surprised, because when I was also a teenager and I got pregnant, I got the same reaction from my mother. And you can't blame the mother, because she has so many, hopes for her child.
Dreams for you. And probably made a lot of sacrifices.
Precisely. So you can't really blame the mother that much. You can't really, take her to, hell for that. But it's important that we let young people know that whatever they're going through, people ahead of them have been through it as well. And this is what they did. And when you share these stories, then the young girl who is being confronted by the same issue knows exactly what to do and how to avoid those challenges. If you don't share the stories, if we don't talk about our stories, you never know how many girls are lonely out there. And they just need to hear that, Anamoah has been through it before, and Anamoah is still standing on her feet. Anamoah is still smiling. If Anamoah did it,
then I can do it as well.
Then I can do it too. So it's important that we do. And that is why I came up with Women of Valor.
And then on the flip side too, I think from this story that you shared is also sharing that, I came out on the other side, the Nanaba that but I could just as easily have had my life destroyed by this mistake that I made.
No idea anymore. You have no idea, because I don't know if I've ever told this story, but I remember when I was pregnant, when I found out that I was pregnant, the crazy things that I thought of doing, because I felt I had let my parents down.
Yeah.
Especially my dad.
Yeah.
Because my dad was my rock.
From reading newspapers in the morning.
My dad was everything. My dad was my superstar. When my father died, I was devastated.
I'm going to cry because I'm thinking about my dad.
Yeah. And I was really disappointed in myself. And there were so many things going through my head. Do this. And in fact, people were telling me, I don't want to say this because I know what these headlines will read tomorrow. But people gave me all sorts of ideas of what to do. And anymore, I did some of these things. I could have died.
Wow.
Yeah, I could have just ended my life, But for some reason, my father knew something was wrong. My father could read me like that. So he approached me and he said, there is something going on. You need to talk about it. You need to tell me. And I said, I am pregnant. And he said, okay, you're going to have a child. You're going to have a human being. It's okay. I don't have a grandchild, so it's fine. Huh? Yeah, my father said, yeah, you're still my darling. You're still my little girl.
Aww.
And that meant so much to me.
It would, yeah.
Fast forward, my mother finding out.
Hey. They cook the banku stick and the fry. Everything will come out.
Oh, every quotation in the Bible.
Yeah.
But
imagine.
my mother turned out to be the best grandmother.
Of course.
When the baby arrived, oh my God, I didn't even have access to my child.
She would.
Yeah, she was so amazing. But I could have avoided that. I could have waited. I could have taken my time. I could have, so many things that I could have done right that I didn't do at the time. But it doesn't mean other people should make the same mistakes.
Yes.
And that's why women must tell their stories. Women must share their stories because there's so much power in people's stories and so much strength in women sharing their stories. You have no idea.
Yeah.
And hence, women of valor.
I love that. It reminds me of one of the women that I look up to, Sarah Jakes Roberts. I don't know if you know her. She got pregnant at 13. And, she had her son, Malachi. And, right now she's like on top of it when it comes to the Christian world and getting the gospel out there. She's just a fireball, but her story was lived on stage because her father is one of the most influential men in the world. So her story was lived on stage, and you saw her go through all of that. And it's just the amazingness of how, with the right people, by you and the right mentorship and the right support, you can take any sort of beginning and create the end that you want.
Absolutely.
And I feel like that's what Women of Valor is,
Absolutely.
Creating your life story, but getting inspiration from people that you wouldn't normally meet. Because I've seen your panelists.
Ah, right.
And they're really exciting. Of course, as expected, I'm excited about Motula.
Everyone is.
I'll tell you what, I have her picture as my screensaver.
I saw it.
She was wearing a red dress and a top, and I put it on my screensaver because I'm turning 40 in August.
Oh, you are.
And I've been trying to lose.
You're such a baby.
I know, right? And I've been trying to lose weight, and she's just so beautiful. So I have her picture on my phone, and so every time I'm reaching
you should meet her.
I should, shouldn't I?
Definitely should.
Every time I'm reaching for the
Joy.
Yes, next week Wednesday, I think. Yeah. So every time I'm reaching for the chocolate I look at her picture, and I'm like, you know what? Omotola by August.
That's so funny.
Yeah. Ghana hasn't seen Beyonce until they see me. Oh, yeah. So, but why did you choose? It's a different types of women. I've seen Sika on there, Omotola is on there. I've seen that Charlotte Osei will be speaking, and then there's a few other
Stewart from South Africa, and then Eugenia from Ghana.
I saw all of them. How did you pick them? What was the?
So for the other group, Charlotte Osei. Charlotte is my cousin.
Okay.
Charlotte inspires me a lot. Charlotte has gone through so much.
Yeah, she's been on our show. Yeah,
she's
in Afghanistan and in the weirdest of places in this world.
Yeah, she's been through so much. So much has been thrown at her, and at some point you felt she would break, and she didn't. It was a time she was even smiling the most, and she's a very courageous woman. And when I approached her that I was doing this, she said, "Oh, finally, your brain is working."
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Charlotte really deals with me.
Wow, that's so mean.
She said, "Finally, it's working." Because she was happy that I was doing this. I had spoken to her about it for so long. And she says, do this thing. So when I finally decided to do it, I spoke to her and she was very happy about it. And I said, "You have to speak." And she said, "Yeah, let's talk about why women need courage." Because she found courage so many times in her lowest moments.
Yeah.
What Charlotte went through after the 2016 elections could have broken any woman.
Of course.
Yeah, but Charlotte is standing. Charlotte is happy. She's doing better than before. She's so excited. And I don't know how her enemies feel.
Because she's so beautiful.
Oh, she's amazing.
And glowing from the inside.
I know.
And you're like, this is not cream.
I know.
This is deeper than cream.
No. It's
this
Christ.
Is deeper than, this is deeper than...
Yeah.
Okay.
So Charlotte is going to talk about
why women need
courage. Because she has had to rely on courage so many times, to stand the way she's standing right now. Shika Osei. I brought Shika Goka.
Goka.
Shika Osei. I brought Shika Goka on board because Shika is an etiquette coach. And
turning us into ladies.
I know,
isn't
right?
it? Yes.
I know.
Oh my
How
God.
to drink tea.
How to drink tea and crumpets.
And katsu, yeah,
Oh,
all of
yes.
that.
So that
I
should be
know.
interesting.
And Shika has a session on becoming a quintessential
lady.
And she's done it so many times in different sessions privately. And I felt, Shika, you need a big stage. Let's get 400 women in a room and spend 20 minutes talking about a quintessential lady. Because when people see quintessential lady, they think it's so bougie and difficult to attain, but it's so easy. It's just the simple things.
Is it?
It's just simple things.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really, really simple things.
Are you going to tell us a few?
No, you have to be
Oh,
you have to be at the event to benefit from
We'll
it.
DM you on why we've registered and our friends got in and we didn't. Yeah, because I've seen some of your registration
I know,
DMs.
and
Yeah.
I'm so embarrassed
Yeah.
at that. People. The thing is, initially I was going to do 200 women, and when we opened the portal, in 1 hour, 1,500 people had registered.
Wow.
So I had to close it immediately because I couldn't take all
You
of
couldn't?
It was impossible.
Were you not expecting?
No.
You weren't.
No, I just felt, it's just...
Look of you for women.
Yeah, a few people will be interested. And the initial idea was to get groups from senior high schools, the tertiary institutions, and bring them in. And then, so I was expecting maybe just 50 people to register. And so I didn't post it on my page, because I didn't want to be overwhelmed. So I just said, okay, post it on the Women of Valor page, because they have just about 7,000 or 6,000 followers, and that should be okay. And my goodness, I was shocked. I was really shocked. And so I had to close the portal. But we're getting so many complaints, especially when we unveiled the ladies. And so we opened it for another 30 minutes, and then it just shut up.
It shut up. Wow.
Yeah, so we had to close. But unfortunately, we had to, bring in just 400. My plan was 200, but I had to increase it to 200. 400. And I think I've done well. I've tried. Maybe next year I'll do a cross-post stadium.
So that you can have more.
Yeah.
You can have more
Yeah.
reach. But you'll stream it live, won't
Yes.
you? So it'll be accessible to.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've told me about Shika.
Yes.
And
then there is Obobia.
Yes.
I brought Obobia on board because I've heard Obobia speak so many times.
Okay.
And Obobia speaks to Gen Z.
Okay.
She knows the reality.
She has the anointing.
Yeah,
to speak to the Gen Zs. Yeah.
She understands them better than a lot of people I have met, because there's such a struggle between the old generation and the new generation. We expect the new people to be doing the things that
we did.
No, it doesn't work that way. The world has
of,
changed. Exactly.
Completely.
So Bobby understands these people better, and that's why I'm bringing her on board. Now, Omotola I chose because I'm a huge fan, number one, of Omotola. I'm a huge fan of Omotola. Omotola has stayed relevant for the longest time.
She has.
She stayed relevant.
Very relevant.
Very relevant. And her stories, she hardly shares her stories. And I'm not even going to tell you anything about it because I wanted to share it.
To share it herself.
And you'll be amazed at the things she has gone through and how she manages to smile and take those pictures that inspire. And that's why I brought Omotola on board. I needed somebody from Nigeria, from Ghana, from another African country. I didn't want it to be just Ghana. Because it's so close, so limiting, because we need to understand other cultures. Because the world has changed.
Yes.
You don't just live in a bubble.
No,
you're working with other people. It's a
Yeah.
globalized village now. And so that's why I brought in Omotola. I brought in Julia because she was fantastic during the just ended World Cup on Super Sport. And even though we have women who are doing amazing things in sports, you don't always find so many women giving so many opportunities on a football platform like Super Sport. And she's doing it, Carol is doing it, and they're doing amazing well. They are competing with these men. In fact, I enjoy Julia's presentation better than all the men on Super Sport. I watch her and I'm excited. There's a lady on EPL as well. I watch her and I'm so excited.
Yeah.
I watch Carol, I'm excited. Juliet Bewa, and I'm excited. And so I brought in Julia because I want people to know that you can do it as well. She was a newspaper reporter and now she's on TV doing amazing things. She's doing pitch side reports. she's amazing. And then there is Eugenia from Ghana. Eugenia is a victim of sexual abuse.
Okay.
And her story is amazing. She's a courageous woman. She didn't just get out of the abuse. She came out, unscathed. She has set up a foundation, Safe Space, and it's doing remarkable work for women who are constantly being abused. And the kind of encouragement, the kind of stories that come from a camp are just amazing. And that is why we have Eugenia on board. And so these three women, I didn't select them because they are gorgeous. I selected
Which they are.
They are. But I selected them because their stories are really different. They touch your heart. And you see them all glammed up, but they have dealt with so much, and they will continue to deal with so much. But it's important that as women, we find a way to deal with our issues. But the Women of Valor is not just for women. Our speakers are all women, but men apply to join, because I made it. I made it very clear that I don't just want women in the room. I want men in the room as well, because a lot of the time when women meet, we keep the men out. And empowerment and achieving parity is not for one gender. It's for both genders. If men understand us very well, then they're on board.
Yeah.
Not to say that the men don't understand. Some men understand. Some men don't understand because we don't speak up enough about our issues.
Yeah.
I've met women who are going through so much, and they think by talking about it, they're defeating themselves. They feel really defeated. And that's not how it works. I've met women who have glowing stories, but they would rather cower. They won't talk about it. But when we share our stories, women would know that when you talk about your achievements and your successes, you're not being a braggart. You're not showing off. You are doing it because you got there through grit, through hard work. Listen, when you sit on a panel, to do an interview, and a man walks in with your CV, the CV is so boastful for a man.
Oh, yeah.
So boastful.
Yeah.
And they sit in front of you, and the way they speak, very confident, very sure of themselves. After that, a woman comes in, and the women are so
subdued.
They don't want to talk about themselves. You ask them, who are you? And it's almost as if they are apologizing for who they are. Yeah. But you don't have to apologize. You are not bragging. You are telling us what you have done and what you can do. You talk about salary. A man will say, I'll take 5,000. I'm not going to go below 4,500. The woman will say, well, whatever. What do you have for me on paper? When you say 2,000, it's okay, I'll take it.
Wow.
Why should you settle for that? When a man who is just boasting, you give him the job, he may not be able to do it the way this woman would do it. But the women are afraid. They're so scared. And you can understand. It's the way we've been conditioned. That if you're a woman and you talk too much, then you're either arrogant or you're a witch.
Or we'll pray.
I've heard that so many times. Nana will pray. Yeah, I've told, they have to call me Prayanka. Because as for pray,
you own it.
I
right?
own it.
Yeah.
I may pray because I know what I can do. I know what I stand for.
You know who you are.
I know who I am.
And the price you've paid to become
precisely
who you are.
And women should not be shy. Should not be afraid to talk about who they are and what they have done, what they have achieved. Look, when you go for a summit and they're introducing a woman. She doesn't even want you to go on and say, in 2015 she achieved that.
And
2017. But she did it.
But she did.
Look, the men, it's like a chip on their shoulders. And they are like just going around nodding. But the woman, and they come and say, you didn't have to say all of that. Why not? Why not?
Yeah.
It should be shared. Those stories should be shared.
Why do we do that? Why do we want to be so little?
It's just the way society has conditioned us. That's the way society has conditioned us. And if you don't come from a family that is always encouraging you, you will be in trouble. You will really be in trouble. And that is what parents must do. Parenting has changed. The way we were brought up has changed. We don't have to be doing the same thing our parents
did.
We don't have to. We must encourage children. We must encourage children to do things, to be themselves. There was a time where a child would walk in here and say, "Hello, auntie, how are you?" They'll say, "Hey, what kasado do?" If they haven't asked you to speak,
you should be seen and not heard. And
no, you have to be heard and seen.
Yeah.
This is why I like TV. You should be heard and
And
seen.
seen.
You know, but we are making progress. It is changing, but we could do better. Again, society must give women opportunities. I mean, you look at this administration, I was thinking that more women would have been given more positions. I mean, when Nanadu said we had the men, I knew he was using men. No, it wasn't.
as a men and women thing,
yeah.
you didn't think it was just men.
Yeah, but there are so many men. But there are women who are competent. There are women who would do a better job at the finance ministry. And the women were not given that chance. They are not being given that.
This is a very typical Nanaba moment.
Oh, right.
Because you see, these are things that women think, but they won't say. It's like, when Akufo-Addo said we had the men, we assumed he meant he had the men and the women. Now, there are women who can do a better job at the finance
Oh,
ministry.
and I mean it.
But you get that these are your moments. These are the the moments that women kind of shy away from, because then there's the talking, there's the social media, there's the attacking.
Oh, I know.
There's
I'll be attacked, but well, it's okay.
It's what's out for ducks.
Oh, fuck. I can't even be bothered. I mean, the thing I find amazing about people who attack me is how much time they have. I mean, why do you have so much time?
No, wait. You remember the next TV star, the U Bridges, Otu and Sewami?
Yeah.
The one that the guy came and he had been blasting you on Twitter.
Oh.
And you gave it to, you blasted. It was
You
nice.
know, I think that day I was in a good mood. Yeah,
Kanye.
I was in a good mood. You know, the things that boy said about us and other women were unprintable. I couldn't have repeated them. And I remember that time, so many Ghanaians were upset. That wasn't, I mean, there were lecturers at the University of Ghana, and that was unprofessional. Really? Really, that was unprofessional? Wait till it is done to you. You know, because people just don't understand. You can behave in any way, but don't determine my reaction. You cannot determine my reaction. You cannot sit on social media, call me a prostitute, call me all sorts of things, then you come and stand in front of me. You want me to mentor you? Are you mad?
And what? Prostitution?
Maybe.
Because, I mean, that's all you think
Maybe.
I'm good for.
Are you crazy? And you expect me to do what? Oh, don't do that again. Go home. Tomorrow, come back. We'll start our mentorship.
No.
I must be sick in the head to do that. And that reaction, I would repeat it any day. And now I hear people come on social and say, Nana, but we now understand what you did. You are mad. I understood it
What you were
myself.
doing,
I
but-
knew what I was doing. Now he's doing it to them. He's doing it to them. And I can't even be bothered. I did what I had to do at the time. And I have no regrets.
on.
I don't apologize for it. I will do it again. There are people. There was a time when some guy on social media, I didn't even see those tweets, but I have Twitter soldiers. They just know how to find tweets for me.
Oh, wow.
So this guy tweeted at me, my foundation, that he needed money for his mother's surgery, and I said, okay, apply. When you apply, we will definitely assist your mom. And he applied. My people looked at him and said, okay, the guy qualifies. And so I reached out to him and said, okay, you need to come forward. We need to talk. And then my Twitter soldiers started sending me DMs. This is what this boy said about you. The boy said this. The boy said you are an ashawo. Ashawo is such an overused word in Ghana.
It is, isn't
Find
it?
a different insult, because, I mean, I have outgrown that. But they still they still use the ashawo word, They still use it. And I was looking at the boys' tweets, and they were scandalous. The things the boy had said about me, as far as this guy was concerned, I had slept with every politician in Ghana.
wow.
I'm not even attracted to politicians in Ghana.
Wow.
Maybe one or two.
I won't ask who. I'm just
No,
going
no.
to move on.
Maybe
from
one
it.
or two, one or two sensible ones. But
Wow. I think you should keep that in your head.
I know.
Yeah.
Maybe one or two. But this boy said, oh, Nana Aba has slept with this MP, this minister, this. And so I asked him, you wrote all of this about me? And you dare come to me for help? He said, at that time, it was peer pressure. Everybody was saying it. So I
So
also
me too, I
come.
said some.
because you never know where your tweets will end up one day. But we need to be very careful.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I didn't see those tweets. It was just my soldiers who said, look, don't help this guy. But again, I did. I helped him because, I mean, it's his mother. Maybe if Ayonwa, I would
have been, I get that.
But even that, I'm human. I would have just overlooked that. But the thing is that people just get up and they want to project their unhappiness on you. And it's wrong. You know, it is wrong. It starts from the home, it starts from the school, and then it ends up on social media.
Yeah.
It's really sad.
I get that.
I know.
So before we go, because time has flown,
right.
but let's finish up with Women of Valor. So we've talked about all the speakers. Can you tell us how we can get involved? Those of us that, weren't...
But anymore, you are invited.
Oh, but I'm with the masses. So
pretending to be with the masses.
Oh, I'm with the masses.
You're
pretending. So those who can't be there physically, how do they get involved?
We will be streaming. We'll be streaming on the Women of Valor Facebook page, on my Facebook page, on my YouTube, and then the Women of Valor YouTube page. Hopefully, some media houses will also take it live, so I don't think anybody will miss a thing if you're interested.
And it's from 9 a.m. in the morning.
Yes, from 9 on the dot.
On that sharp.
Yes.
Okay, so this month is Women's Month, and we've talked about all the stories and all of that. But what is? This is my last question.
Okay.
What is on your heart for the women that look up to you, that want to be like you?
Anymore, you have a way of asking really difficult questions.
Oh.
And you have to think and think. You see, I'm just dancing around the question because I'm thinking about the best answer for this.
Should we do 2 minutes of Sina Soul's?
You have to play my song.
Yeah, so let's do 2 minutes of that, and then you can come back and answer that question. Abeku, Sina Soul composed a beautiful song for Women of Valor.
Yeah.
So take a listen.
I'm a woman and you no fit to control me, no fit to control me. And when I walk into a room, you won't know me. I bet you won't know me. I'm on fire.
Okay, well, it's 8 o'clock. I think you'll have to watch out for our social media pages for that answer.